Hi, and welcome to the Insecure Chef. I'm here with Regina as always. We've been gone for a little while. Actually, a good part of the summer we haven't done too many cooking. We've been traveling, we've been seeing family, we've been going away and really enjoying the summer. So we're getting back as we wind down this summer of 2024. It's been a bit unseasonably cool the last few weeks around here, and that kind of drove me to a dish that I normally wouldn't do in the summer. But I felt like doing it anyhow, would be a beef stew. Now, I've done beef stews before. I didn't really have chunks of beef in the house. I didn't have any steak I could use. So I decided to make a ground beef stew, and that's what I'm doing. I'm working here with essentially a half a pound of ground beef. You can use 85, 15, or 93, whatever you prefer. If you go down to 80, 20, you might get a lot of oils, so that when we brown this up, you may want to drain that off if necessary. So we're going to start by heating up a little olive oil here. I'm going to set up my Dutch oven. I'm just using the Dutch oven here. You can use whatever you find convenient. And I'm just going to put in about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. What you're seeing here, this is basil infused olive oil. I decided to just mess around with that a little bit. You can use any kind of oil you like. Olive oil in this recipe I think is preferred. And you won't be working with too high a temperatures, so it should be just fine. So we're just going to heat that up now, and when it comes to temperature, we'll start browning up. All right, we've heated that up a bit. I'm working around medium heat, maybe a little bit towards the lower side of medium, not much. I'm going to throw in now a half a pound of ground beef, as I noted earlier. All right, and I'm just going to break that up when it's in there. You can break it up beforehand, whatever you prefer. Go. Like I said, I'm doing this because I really had a yearning for beef stew, but I was kind of too lazy to go out and pick up some chuck or whatever beef I might want to use. I think this will be tasty no matter what. And I'm making this essentially for myself as usual. Half a pound, you might get away with 2 people if you're not too hungry, because there is a lot of vegetables and potatoes that go in. Let that brown for a second. All right, you see it's browning up very nicely here. All right, and once this is browned, you see most of the pink is gone. There. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in my veggies and my potato. So I've got my white onions are going in. You can use red onions if you like, or a mixture depending on it. Keeping in mind that the red onion does add a more pungent taste to it. I've got my celery going in. Followed by my carrots, and then my potatoes. All right, get that stirred up nicely. And this is why I'm using the Dutch oven, because even for 1 or 2 people, depending on how hungry you are, it does take a considerable amount of space. Obviously, if you're going to do this for a bigger group, you're going to have to move to a larger pot. All right, we're going to just let this start to cook down a little bit for about 5 minutes, and we'll be right there. All right, we've been letting this cook down a little bit for about 5 minutes. And now I'm going to be adding in butter. And again, as always, the ingredient quantities are on the site. Butter's going in. And now I'm going to add some minced garlic, about a clove and a half. Give that a stir for about a minute. That smells good. Yeah, we were at a little food fair locally here, and there was a young lady selling spiced, or rather herbed infused olive oils. I'll usually make those myself if I need it, but she had the bottle here for a reasonable price, so I'm using basil infused olive oil in this case. But as I said at the top, you could use whatever oil you like. All right, we're going to follow that up now. We're going to be adding in our tomatoes, a tomato paste, a Worcestershire sauce. All right, here goes our tomatoes. These are fire roasted diced tomatoes. That's with the juice included. And I'm going to add some tomato paste to that. There we go. There we go. Tomato paste is in there. And we'll give that a stir. I'm going to follow that up now with a little Worcestershire sauce. At least that's how I call it. With about a teaspoon. This is half, so we're going to give it about that much. You know, it's got a nice strong flavor to it. So you don't want to overdo that. Going to add a little black pepper. I'm going to go with about 1/4 teaspoon. Now we're going to sprinkle in a little flour, about 1.5 tablespoons of flour. Cook this up nicely. Give that a nice stir now. Let's get that coated in there. Get that flour incorporated. Make sure all of it disappears into the stew. That's starting to look good, huh? Mm. We got a lot of food here for one person.
Too bad the dog couldn't eat it, huh?
Too bad you can't eat it. And now we're going to finish it up with the 2 cups of beef broth. Raise the temperature just a bit. There we go. Give that a nice stir. That come up to temperature for a moment. Now we're going to bring that up to a boil, get that a little hot, and then we'll add some salt to taste. I'm probably going to be using about 1/2 teaspoon to 3/4 teaspoon. Again, that's up to you taste. You can always add it again at the back end if you need it. Let's get that up to a boil. That shouldn't take long. What do you think?
It's getting there on the edges. It's bubbling.
All right, you see it's boiling nicely. I'm going to add salt now. Like I said, I'm going to go with about 3/4 teaspoon. Mix that in there very nicely. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lower the heat and basically partially cover it like that. As you see, I've left a little gap. I'm going to lower this heat. Now, you may have a cover that has already a hole in it. If that's the case, then you can cover it completely. I happen to pick this Dutch oven today, which this cover doesn't have it. So I've just left it out there for a little bit. So we're going to let this simmer for about 30 minutes, and we'll be checking it fairly often, and we'll be stirring it around, and we'll be back. All right. It's been simmering now for about 25-30 minutes. I think it was closer to 30. The way I checked it was as long as the potatoes were soft, I was pretty confident that everything else would be fine. So we're going to shut down the heat. I'm going to get this in a bowl here. You guys can eat this however you, the way you want it. Now, if you want the stew to be a bit thicker, then what you can do is you can remove that lid a little earlier. You'll get a bigger evaporation, and the stew will get thicker. If it's too thick for you, as you come to the end here, you can always just add a little more water to it. It'll be just fine. So, I think that looks good, babe.
Yep.
All right. Let's come over here, and we're going to do a taste test.
Wait.
All right, we're going to give this a taste here. Try it out. It looks very hot. Give it a try. Very tasty. Oh, and the chopped meat comes out very nice. Very, very nice indeed. The poor man's beef stew. Yep, this came out very tasty. The salt and everything is just right. The flavors are all there. That background of Worcestershire is excellent. Potatoes are all cooked, and that was the guidelines I used, by the way. Once I tasted the potato and it was cooked, a little firm but cooked, I knew everything else would be done. So I decided for the late summer, even though it's kind of cool out there, to go with a ground beef stew. So from the Insecure Chef and his wonderful wife Regina,
Enjoy your dinner.
thank you for joining us. Again, we'll slowly get back to work here again. As I said, it's been cooling down. I don't know if the summer's over or not, but we're heading down to Cape May for a couple of days. We'll see some family down there, and then we'll be back. So thank you again. Bon appetit.